The second lecture in the series of object-oriented design patterns. In this lecture, we will study about abstraction, inheritance, and aggregation or composition. So before we start this lecture, I would ask you guys to please hit the subscribe button if you like the contents of this channel. And if you don't want to miss any updates for the future videos, you should also hit the bell icon. So let's start with this lecture series. The first thing that we want to discuss today is the abstraction. Now, what is abstraction? Abstraction is simply a process of hiding implementation details from the user. So, in real life scenarios, if you want to take an example, the best example is your mobile phone. So, you use your mobile phone to call each other, right? You use the mobile phone device to dial the number, but you don't know that how that mobile phone gets connected to another mobile phone and how the communication happens using waves and how the entire details that is handled within your mobile phone. There are multiple processors which are running, there are multiple antennas which must be operating, there are towers set up in during the whole inside the whole city so that your connection can be established between two mobile phones. So as a user, you don't have to worry about those details. You only need to dial up the number and call using your mobile phone. So the basic example of an abstraction is that the user only gets to know that what the application provides, and it doesn't have to know that how does it provide it. So this is an example in the wider term that if you are using a device, but also when you are creating a code. So let's say you are writing part of a code in your project and that part of the code is being used by some other part of the code. So your basic thinking should be that I should design my code in such a way that the other part of the code which is using this code doesn't need to know that how this code is performing. You should only give some criterias, or you should only tell that okay, these are the things that my part of the code will do, and how I will do it, you don't have to know that. So basic example is whenever you are using Facebook, you can just type a post and click the post button, right? But you don't have to know the details of how the post button works. That is how Facebook handles the request. Facebook has multiple CDN networks. Facebook has multiple in between servers which are caching the data. Facebook must have multiple databases in behind so that they can back the data up. So you don't need to go in the details to just post a simple update on your newsfeed. Facebook takes care of all of that. So whenever you are designing a code, you should think in that direction that whoever is going to use my code doesn't need to know about the details of how I am implementing the functionalities. He should only know about what are the functionalities which are being provided from my part of the code. Now, benefits of abstraction. What are the benefits of using an abstraction? Since user doesn't know the details about implementation of the functionalities, the programmer who is developing those functionalities can change the implementation behind the scenes without needing any change for the user. So what does it mean? So let's say that, let's take an example of the Facebook app again. So if a Facebook developer decides to store the data of every post in a different database than where it was stored before. So let's say Facebook was storing all their post data in a relational database, or let's say MySQL. And now some Facebook developer comes and says, okay, we need to store the data in MongoDB. So he just needs to change the implementation and ensure the same input and output is validated for the user. So for a user, you won't notice any change and you won't have to provide any change as a behavior point of view from the user's side. So you can continue to use the functionality as it is because of the abstraction. So if you had to do some different thing to choose MySQL implementation, then what the problem would have occurred is that whenever you move to some different database, the user interaction needed to be changed. So if you see it in terms of code, so let's say you are designing part A of the code. Now if part B of the code which someone else is writing, so that part becomes client part for your code. So if the client needs to know that how you are implementing the part A, then whenever you are changing the implementation, the client's code need to be changed. So to understand and to facilitate the changes easier from your side, it is very important to provide abstraction, because let's face it that there will be APIs or there will be cases where your code is being used by some multiple clients. Now even if you change a small detail in your own code, and if all the clients who are using your code has to change their code, then your code, people won't use it, simply because whenever you make a small code change, they have to go and change each and everything in their code, so they won't use it. Just imagine that whenever Facebook makes a small tweak in their details in the backend, if you as a user have to understand the different behavior, or if you as a user, your experience is changing each time, then you won't be that comfortable using Facebook also. So how to achieve abstraction inside the code base? On a very practical level, if you want to achieve abstraction, there are two ways: interfaces and abstract classes. So you should, as a rule of thumb, you should understand that whenever you are designing a code, you should always provide interfaces. You should always write code to interfaces. You shouldn't write directly implementations. All the client code should get are contracts of the interfaces or abstract classes. They shouldn't know the actual implementing classes. They shouldn't know about the actual implementations. What are the benefits? Behind an interface, you can add multiple implementation, and the client doesn't need to change their code ever. But if you directly provide the implementation details to your client, so whenever you are adding a new implementation, the client's code will be changed. So remember that always you should write code to an interface or an abstract class. Now let us move towards the second property that we are going to study today, that is inheritance. Now inheritance, as we all know, that it is simply a parent-child relationship between two classes. So what is a parent-child relationship means? It means simply that if there is a class which can inherit all the properties of a parent, then you must make the, so let's say you have class A and class B. If class A can inherit all the properties from class B, and those properties are valid for class A, you shouldn't just inherit it because you want some part of the properties. We will study in details about these things, that which properties should you inherit, which properties you shouldn't inherit, and why you shouldn't go towards inheritance all the times in future lectures. But you just remember it as a rule of thumb that you should only use inheritance when all the properties which are present in the parent class is valid for the child class. So for example, each mammal is an animal. So if you have an animal class and if you have a mammal class can extend properties and behavior from class animal. But if, let's say there are, let's take some different examples. So for example, let's say each mammal is an animal, but if you say that okay, a human is an animal, it doesn't make that much amount of sense, because there will be some properties in an animal which a human doesn't need. A human will have some legs, count of hands, but human has some properties which animals, human don't have some properties which animals have. So you shouldn't be extending animal class from human class just to use properties like count of hands or count of legs. Let us move towards aggregation. So aggregation is another way of adding behavior of a different class to a class. So by inheritance also, what we are primarily doing is we are trying to get some properties from the parent class inside the child class. So we are adding some properties from a different class to another class by using this property of inheritance. So aggregation is another way of doing the same thing. You are adding some behavior from a different class to your class. So how aggregation works is, using aggregation, basically whenever you are feeling that there is some class whose all properties are required inside another class, but there is not directly a parent-child relationship. So basically, let's say that for every mammal you have a class of walk details, so which has three properties. Let's say for walking type, number of hands used, number of legs used. So mammal can't extend walk details because it doesn't make any sense, but every mammal has walk details. So for a rule of thumb, you must understand that if there is ever a relationship between two classes, then you should go for inheritance, and if there has a relationship in between two classes, you should go for aggregation. By is a relationship is mammal is an animal, or human is an organism, and for has a relationship you can go with mammal has a walk detail. So walk detail is a property of mammal class, but mammal is not a walk detail, so you can't make mammal extend from walk details. Now let us understand about composition. So composition is a kind of restricted aggregation. So basically you have learned aggregation. What it is that if you have one class, all of whose properties are valid from another class, but there is not a direct parent-child relationship, what you can do is the class which needs that property, it can have that property within that class. So let's say an animal can have walk details as a property inside it. Composition is also a type of aggregation, but there is a restriction on that. So in aggregation, both the objects involved can exist without each other, but in composition, the involved objects can't exist independently. And if you take out the object and created object, fails to exist. So you don't have to go into much details about the differences between the composition and aggregation, but you should understand the difference between inheritance and aggregation or composition. So a basic rule of thumb is don't try to enforce inheritance just so that you can add some behavior in your class. If you want to add some behavior in a class and you feel that inheritance is not completely valid for that behavior to be added in the child class, go for aggregation, go for composition, that you can add that behavior in your class by simply adding that as a property rather than inheriting it from parent class. Because you should always know that inheritance brings in some different complications with it, because you are generally inheriting various properties which are generally not making any sense for a child class, or simply the two classes don't have a parent-child relationship logically, but you are simply extending it just so that you can add some behavior in your class. So if there is not a clear-cut relationship of parent-child, go for composition, use composition to add behavior in your class. So I hope you liked this lecture, and I hope that you got the difference between inheritance and aggregation or composition, and you understood the concept of abstraction as well. So if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and share this video with your friends also. Thank you.